Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of the afternoon edition. My name is Isa Nu. Today we shall be focusing still on the issues that is surrounding us in the country with respect to the economy, the security, looking generally about the state of the nation. And as you know, Nigeria, often hailed as the giant of Africa, boasts a vibrant economy teeming with diversity and potentials. However, beneath its promising surface lies a tapestry of challenges and opportunities that shape the nation's economic trajectory. So as we delve into Nigeria's economic landscape, it becomes evident that a multifaceted approach is required to unlock its full potential. The Nigerian economy is facing this point since independence. All the macroeconomic fundamentals have been moving in a different direction, and the performance of various sectors is still on the watch. So the 8 years of the former president with the APC mantra of change was not a bit palatable to all. But then we've seen that, yes, despite the fact that in the last 8 years, we've seen issues of the train stations, we've seen so many issues in terms of agricultural activities and the rest. The rate of unemployment averaged about 40% from 2008 to 2022, with the inflation rate trending at double digit and approaching a runaway level. Lending rate average about 26%, with the misery index standing still at almost 86% as at 2022, if I'll get that right. So since independence, the manufacturing sector has never contributed more than 10% to our GDP. Broadly speaking, the Nigerian economy remains at the primary stage of development in spite of an average growth of 6% between 2017 and 2022. Notwithstanding the two economic recession of 2016 and 2020, the economy has been in a stagflation phase from 2010, and recession are common features in the economic system that depend heavily on the market. That is market capitalism. So today, we'll be having a discussion still on these issues, the issues of security, the issue of economy, the issue of local content production, in order for us to have a very good forex. But then, in discussing that, we'll be having Ambassador Onoja. Ambassador Onoja is the President and Executive Director of the Next Generation Initiative International. He'll be joining us just after the break. He'll be able to profile, you'll be able to answer some of the questions that will be raised and definitely look at the best model that he feels the government will need to adopt for us to have transformation as a nation. So let's go for this break.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be wielded by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
challenge of Nigeria as a free state in 20th century Africa is the need to revive the stature of man in Africa and restore the dignity of man in the world. Nigerians believe passionately in the fundamental human rights. We regard all races of the human family as equal. Under no circumstance shall we accept the idea that the black race is inferior to any other race. I appeal to all our leaders, far and near, to forget the wounds which were inflicted in cause of our internecine altercation. The love of our country should outweigh the love of our petty selves. The enjoyment of individual freedom under the law should mean more to us than our self-centered party programs and manifestos. Common dangers and common enemies alert us on the need for common security. Come and join Abubakar with me, Sardauna, Awolowo, Akitola, Osadebe, Okpara, Ikoku, Aminu Kano, Ibrahim Imam, and Tata. Let us bind the nation's wound and let us heal the breaches of the past so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world. So that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world.
Welcome back from that break, and just before the break I did inform that we will be discussing issues that pertain to the state of the nation, and here with us is Ambassador Onoja, President Executive Director, Next Generation Youth Initiative International. Ambassador, good afternoon and welcome to the afternoon edition.
Good afternoon, my dear brother Nuhu, and good afternoon, my dear listeners.
It's nice having you today on the program, looking at the state of the nation. Can you give us your perspective on how you see our economy in a general term?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nuhu. Before I do that, I like to send my deepest condolences to the family of late Wigwe and Abimbola. They are two finest minds that are doing the work of nation building, because we have few nation builders in Nigeria today. And then going back to your question, the story of Nigeria economy, I could chronicle it from by the time we got to here, because agriculture has been the mainstay of the Nigeria economy, driving the economy, and the projections that Nigeria had, even after independence, agriculture was to be the backbone and the center of gravity, and it was doing that, and the economy was booming until oil was discovered in 1973. Though discovered in 1956, but the commercial quantity of exploration through marketing part started in 1973, and Nigeria began to get money and good foreign exchange, and that translated into laziness, and that translated into a new culture of free money, and that translated into a new culture of pilfering, and this pilfering grew and it became endemic to the point that today, if we want to be very sincere to ourselves, the characterization of our country as a nation, with all due respect, I love my country. I love my country. I love my country so dearly. And I have traveled far with Nigeria. But with all due respect, the Nigerian nation can be characterized as a corrupt nation, as a corrupt people. And the signpost is everywhere. If you like, travel from here and go out. You know what I'm telling you? Even if you are descent from Nigeria, if you look at somebody who is corrupt, everything about Nigeria has become suspect. It didn't happen by accident. So we jettison agriculture. Jettisoning agriculture is one problem. But the much more bigger problem was our inability to manage these resources and channel it to national development. I want to quickly quote Rwani, our late elder statesman. He said that they were, Rwani, in the past, they were looking up to a future, a better future. After independence, they were looking up to a better future. And today, rather than looking up to a better future, I was talking about, we are looking up to a better yesterday. Today, we look up to a better yesterday. A dollar is 1,500 or something about that now. But yesterday, a dollar was 70 kobo. Yesterday, a dollar was 78 kobo. Precisely 1980. The dollar was less than 1 naira. So what happened? The great hit on the economy started under IBB. The free fall. When the management of our foreign exchange started with second tier foreign exchange market, using the Dutch auction, where they go to auction our foreign exchange market that was not transparently based on market forces. Every time we talk about market forces, invisible hands are always behind market forces. Market forces does not exist on its own. Market forces is abstract. There should be a visible hand that controls market forces. In the whole of creation, even with all the technology that we have had today, man has remained as the one behind the scheme of things. So, and in that process, there was no transparency. Backdoor businesses was being done. People learned the art of collecting foreign exchange from the bank to sell. The bank engages in round tripping, and the price, the rate begin to change. There was artificial and manipulative process that got the value, the exchange rate growing gradually. If we were left for market forces, if we were left to float and to let the mechanism of the market determine the dollar rate today, it will not be what it was. But along that, it was mixed with humongous corruption. Humongous corruption. If you want to know the story of corruption, I will take you back to the era of Nuhu Ribadu as chairman of the EFCC. And if you want to tell me at any time that corruption had a fight, it was under his regime and under the regime of Obasanjo. Not minding that there could be some mistakes here and there. But I can tell you, out of 36 state governors, 33 were on the roll of EFCC. What led to the conspiracy? When they say, oh, if you fight corruption, corruption fights you back. And I need to respect Nuhu Ribadu every day. He gave all his best for the interest of the nation. But that became a problem for him, that they turned out, since they couldn't succeed in killing him, they said they whipped through everything around him, disgrace him even from Nice, Kuru. Having had a very good career, and to retire honorably, he faced demotion and disgrace and reproach. But because he is a patriotic Nigerian, he never cared. And then the fight came to this stage. When these processes were going on, the oil brought laziness. You just gave a preamble about the manufacturing sector. An economy does not exist in a vacuum. You can't have an economy that does not produce anything or consumes everything. There is no building that doesn't have pillar. If you put a building and there's no pillar, the building will go. So over the years, the pillars of the Nigerian economy were being taken in. The Nigerian economy is a very big economy, it's a complex economy, it's an economy that had a lot of potentials. That is why the story me and you are talking today, we are able to tell the story, because it was a long collapse. Very resilient, because the economy is very broad. Nigeria is one of the most blessed countries in terms of resources. Come to talk of the human resources. If we channel our development effort to the human resources only, Nigeria will rule the day.
In this particular case, you've raised three major issues here.
Yes.
The issue of the economy, the issue of corruption, and the issue of agriculture. But let me quickly dip more into the aspect of agriculture.
Okay.
You know, the past president, that is President Muhammad Buhari, spent so much in terms of agricultural development in the country.
Yeah.
Is it that the people, that's we Nigerians, we are now turning in totality that, look, agriculture shouldn't just be a major issue here in Nigeria. Now that we have oil, it is an easy money. So at what point do you expect us to now turn back? People still see it as an archaic adventure in the country. At what point will the government help us to turn back, whereby we can be able to benefit more from this particular agriculture that you've stated?
Thank you very much, Nero. When you say Buhari spend so much on agriculture, spending is not equal to productivity. Spending, that is nominal spending. They can tell they budgeted 100 million for an agricultural project. And the rest in the paper, the money has been expended and given out. And you go to the field, the result you get is something of 2 million.
But then
it is record that, yes, they will say, okay, they have spent 100 million, yes. They have spent this amount of money. Let me tell you, we can make agriculture very appealing. Very appealing. I'll give you an example. At the time Adesina was Minister of Agriculture in this country, we turned things around. Under Jonathan, we saw the impact. It was very, very glaring. It was very visible. It was measurable. We are seeing the impact in food production. We are seeing the impact in raw materials. We are seeing the impact in terms of investment. We are seeing the impact in terms of people's engagement. It was very, very obvious. Even the whole world, it was the premise that performance formed part of the credential that made him the president of African Development Bank today. And he's doing a Roman job there. Very clear, doing a Roman job. Today, our investment tied to agriculture. They didn't go to agriculture as a thing because the factor of corruption is a very, very serious problem that is still affecting us today. Very, very serious problem. Okay, take for example, I'll just give you an example. And I am forced to use Beta Edu. Supposing the money that was traced to Beta Edu was not traced to
it's not the best. It's not the best.
Just an example now. No, I'm not going to. I want to give you an example. Okay. Yeah, Beta Edu is not the only, but there is Beta Edu everywhere in Nigeria. Yes. There is Beta Edu in all the ministry. There is Beta Edu in all the sectors. I'm giving you an example now. That supposing that money was not traced or you didn't hear about it, they will tell you that 45 million has gone on poverty alleviation. Will you doubt it? If that money was not found that it was being taken away, what the record will show that they have distributed 45 billion to poor people as a cash transfer or grant. Is it not? Will you not take it like that?
Yes.
In similar way. So when they tell you, okay, 50 million has been sent on agriculture, 200 million has been spent, let us see the result. Let us see what is in the market. And another thing very critical that is affecting agricultural production is the issue of insecurity. And nobody is talking about it. Go to Benue State is a food basket of the nation. I can count villages for you that people are not living there again.
Before you go into insecurity, you've raised a very important issue still on this issue of agriculture. And I would like to tie that to the fight on corruption, that's the anti-corruption fight. Okay. Looking at the situation of things, unlike in the past where you see the issue of corruption rearing its head and then nobody seems to care, how do you see, what kind of support do you think the government will need to still give these anti-corruption agencies to make sure that, yes, the issue of corruption is totally reduced in the administration, in this particular administration? Because we've seen it with Beta Edu, we've seen it with the issue of Sadia Umar Farouk. What other support do you think the government needs to give the anti-corruption agents to do their work effectively?
It is not about the anti-corruption just doing their work. The anti-corruption should not be giving the work to be pursuing people. See, leaders, once the leader comes and you lead by example, that is the first way to do that. I'll give you an example. I thank God you are very versatile. You are a veteran in this country. When Yar'Adua was the president of Nigeria, you can tell me, what does his body language show? What was happening? How many people can go on a psychophant visit? I don't know whether I can get. It's a very, very obvious thing. It's a very, very obvious thing. You see, when there is an issue and our reaction to that issue is permissive, it means we welcome it. It means we welcome it.
But then people
I'll give you a very good example now. It's all over the place. You can imagine that in a country like Nigeria, a single individual will ask for the resources going to a state that he should be given 50% of it. And it became a trouble. What will you do if you are the president? I'll fire that person and I'll take you to jail. Are you hearing me? Did you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even it should call for the whole uprising of the whole of the citizens of that state. Even not only the city, but the whole of Nigerians. But we rationalize this thing. It's not that put in there. It's not, who puts who there? So who put in there in the first place? Was it not put by somebody? We say, see, so we treat with levity. We make our corruption is a new normal. It's a new normal. It's only when you are caught that it becomes a crime. Corruption is not a crime in Nigeria. I'll put it to you.
Corruption is a crime.
It's not.
It's a crime
Unless you are caught.
Well, okay, let's just move forward because the issue of agriculture also still have so much challenge. That you've also raised, that's the issue of insecurity. You just mentioned Benue State, you go to part of the Northeast and the rest. How do you see us addressing that? How possible is it that we can go back to those golden days before the Boko Haram period, where we can go back to our farm and then harvest our agri-produce?
Rejigging the security architecture is a very serious assignment, and it needs serious political will. It is not just about the president only. It is about the generality of Nigerians. Security is a duty for every citizen. In any case, the degree of our responsibility differs. Those who have handled the reign of authority or exercise authority on behalf of the citizens and sovereignty of this nation, they have to lead the pack. The general leads the war and the foot soldiers follow. So, where the leader is the one who shows the way. So, if we want to treat the case of insecurity, if any day, General Abacha said that once there is a problem in any country, about insecurity, and government does not bring that under 48 hours, it means the government is involved and is a beneficiary and is a collaborator. General Sani Abacha. If I'm quoting that of context, you can call me any day. So the government, I'll give you an example. In the United Arab Emirates, about 400 Nigerians were convicted for illicit funding, for funding terrorism in faraway country. But in Nigeria, what does the government do? The government shielded them. Even to call their name for the citizens to know. Not to talk of take them before the court of law. We have been contending with the problem of security, bombing and killing everywhere for spanning all 15 to how many years now. Please, you are a media person. Apart from being media, you are read. You travel, you have the connection. Tell me how many people has been convicted or who is serving a jail term. Who is serving a jail term among them? Even right in the state lodge, the Boko Haram was picked up here. Oh. So if you see the web of the issue, you see, you can't fight yourself. So if you are in a business where you are benefiting something and you are the one who is to solve that problem will not go nowhere. That is why we are talking of some laws today can never be passed at the National Assembly. Take for example, we say we need a unicameral legislature. It's not going to be possible. Because it is the same National Assembly that will pass the law that this should be. Are you getting what I'm saying? It is not going to, you can't legislate against yourself. So when you give the realm of authority to change, to make reform, to address an issue to the person singularly by monopoly, who is in charge and who is benefiting. You can't kill yourself now. Are you getting me? So you can't legislate against yourself. So see, until you bring sincerity to nation building, sincerity to nation building. I give you an example of Yaradua. Until you bring sincerity to nation building and courage, we will not be going anywhere. We all of us know the truth. In this country, to speak the truth, you are the misnomer. Because what is the stock in trade today is deceit, is fraud. They come and they tell you it's logic or whatever. See, if a nation that does not walk by the truth, that does not accept the truth, that treat the truth with a waiver, will continue to grow up in darkness.
You've traced this issue down to the era of Ibrahim Badamas. That's 1991.
Yeah, from there the thing began to, we thought things were going to get better, it continued to slide, and we got to an endemic level now.
But then, even as of then, people will say, okay, probably it is because it was a military era, all true. But as democracy made it better?
Not at all. Democracy made it worse. Democracy made it worse, and I can categorically, democracy made it worse. If I begin to catalog what the level of disservice to our nation, to national interest under democracy, you will marvel. Take for example, I give you an example now.
Yeah.
There was a case of an attorney general, accountant general, of 776 billion. You know how much it will take you to spend 776 billion? If you are spending 1 million naira every day, it will take you 2,126 years plus to finish that money. You quote me. It will take you 2,126 years. People don't live within 100 years. Are you getting me? You are spending 1 million naira every day. Now, if I give you 1 million naira to a community in Abuja here now, or like Kagini, take 1 million there today, take 1 million there tomorrow, take 1 million there next tomorrow for 2 weeks only. Can you tell me what will happen in that community? That is, we go to invest that money in the people. With 1 million, you can create employment for 50 women. When you do that, the multiplier effect will begin to happen in that community. Next tomorrow you increase another 50. You have gotten 100. Next tomorrow put another 50 for 1 week. Not to talk of 1 month.
Ambassador Roger, we'll be going on a very short break now, and you've listed so much the issue of agriculture, economy, the issue of security. These are key components that you've listed that the Nigerian government would have to address. And I'm happy that some steps have been taken, most especially when it has to do with the issue of the forex. But we'll be going on a very short break, and when we return, we continue with the conversation.
The welfare of millions of people for generations to come may be affected by the wisdom which we here display. If Nigerian leaders and our British partners are to prove themselves worthy of their trust, now is the time for us solemnly and truly to dedicate ourselves to seeking the greatest good of the greatest number of our people in Nigeria. Independence for Nigeria in 1960 is imperative. But independence for Nigeria as a corporate entity is not enough. The peoples of Nigeria must at the same time be guaranteed their freedom. We must ensure that in an independent Nigeria, individual citizens throughout the land enjoy liberty, human dignity, and equality under the law. There must be one Nigeria with one constitution and one law for all. Let us therefore, Mr. Chairman, sir, close our ears to the counsel of despair, which says that we cannot here at this conference agree on a constitution. If there's any doubt among us as to what should be written into the constitution, let us, as Democrats that we profess ourselves to be, refer such problems, as the Gaulle has done recently, to the people whom we profess to represent, either just before or at the federal elections late in 1959.
Welcome back from the break, and just before the break we've been having a very interactive conversation with Ambassador Onoja, who is the President and Executive Director of Next Generation Initiative International. Ambassador, we've been speaking so much on different aspects of the nation. We've discussed in detail the challenges facing agriculture, and then the issue of the oil. We Nigerians having to get crude oil, we thought it would be a blessing, but then what we are having presently is not what many of us phantom it to be. But do you really see a major change now that we now have the Dangote refinery?
Dangote refinery, major change. It will not be major, it will be marginal. It will not be major too. But you remember the joke that this you played on Nigeria recently. Oh, the refinery, you saw it on social media that Port Harcourt refinery is producing. I don't know whether you heard about it or saw it. You should have seen it. In fact, they put it on social media. Oh, refinery, Port Harcourt refinery is producing. That is back on track. And I told people, this is a ruse. What did we hear about them? Dangote refinery will make impact. And making a major shift, that will be something of a long run. And making a meaningful impact will depend on what is happening on the economy too, how the economy is managed. Because first, Dangote has to satisfy the private interest. You know, it's a private refinery. It's a private refinery. So only Dangote refinery, I agree that it's a very big refinery. But when it comes full on the stream, it will not just be about Nigeria only. He would like to export his product too. Nigeria will have their share of consumption. He will export his product too. So the demand of over how many million Nigerians, only that refinery will not do. And that was the logic behind Nigeria having a refinery in Warri, having in Port Harcourt, having in Kaduna, and where else? To service the country. And if we see the huge resources we have in the oil sector again, I would like to let you know that to keep Nigeria importing crude oil and not refining, allow our refinery to be dead, is an intentional thing. It's an intentional thing. If you don't know how the enemies of this country operate, it's an intentional thing. Well, more of the import, more money is made. People make huge money from that business. So it's intentional. Nigeria has the capacity to build a refinery. Nigeria has the capacity to put 3 refineries on the ground and finish it. If Dangote as an individual can build a refinery, why should Nigeria not be able? Even states in Nigeria are capable of building a refinery. But is there a national interest? No. Okay, tell me, today in Nigeria, the millionaires will have, what is the business of a politician being a millionaire? What is he selling? Where is his factory? You cannot become a millionaire without having a factory, without creating value in an economy. How? How did you become a millionaire? How? You are going to sit and discuss and get your service allowance? So we don't interrogate something. Our governance process has been giving so porous, so many things that we don't interrogate. You don't sit, I don't sit here, and the people do some consult and come and do work. I read the RP and the rest, and then you become a billionaire. But the billionaires and millionaires were our politicians. At the detriment of the Nigerian economy. At the detriment of the Nigerian economy. There was a time at the National Assembly, very respected person, Dr. Kojo Iweala, as Minister of Finance that time, when we were making argument about budget performance. Budget performance was under 50%. In Nigeria, people know budget performance as a release of money. Release of money is not budget performance. I can give you money to go to Babalada and you stop at Wuse 2 and branch at this popular hotel and enjoy yourself. And the project is not done. If you catalog on completed project in this country today, you will marvel. Some have enjoyed budget of over 5 years. On the consecutive road. I've been we that interrogate the budget, you see sometimes you are duplicating this in the budget. Why? Because they drain.
That's one major role of the National Assembly. And do you think they've done better, or are they improving, or they are still where they used to be in terms of them carrying out their function?
The oversight function. They are, but not the best of it. Because when a lot of interest, let me tell you one thing. You will operate in limbo in any of these assignments. Are you hearing me? If your drive is not national interest, are you hearing me? You will be handicapped. And I tell you that national interest is at the back, at the back row. That is the truth about me, and I'm telling you, and that is what it is. National interest is at the back row. We pay lip service to this country, all of us. Lip service. Our hearts are far away from this country. People are building empires, and they don't care what is happening to our country. Our country is burning now. If you say Nigeria is burning, you become an enemy of the state. As I'm talking to you now, they say don't mind him. He will suffer. Tell us cannot get work to do in Nigeria. Why? Because they say you tell the truth.
But in this particular case now, we now have a new generation of young persons who are trying to champion the cosmos from the ICT aspect of it. Yeah. The issue of software development and the rest of it. Yeah. These are new ideas that are coming into the world, most especially the issue of artificial intelligence and the rest of it. Do you see us making use of that particular angle also to achieve that pedestal that we want to get to? Because now we have a Minister of Information and Communication Technology that is really doing much to see that, yes, Nigerians are well enlightened in terms of how they can use technology to advance the country.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. His Excellency Bosun is a classical guy. A lot for him. But I tell you, only him is not enough. Even sometimes when you want to do the one that will step on the toes of other, if his own value does not align with the value of 10 other ministers, what do you think will happen to him? They will push him off. He will become the enemy. Even maybe the little the much he's doing now, he's already getting enemy. In this country, if you want to speak the truth, if you want to do what is right, you become an enemy of the majority.
But the president,
because the issue of digital, that's why we are very much emphasizing technology will help a great deal, and that is why driving the economy on the path of technology will be very, very helpful. But much more, like I told you, behind any technology, behind any innovation or creativity is man. Do you get what I'm saying? I can use artificial intelligence to achieve a wrong purpose. We were talking of technology and all the rest. We take PPIS, we have to computerize payroll and all the rest. They do not do it. They are going to have ghost workers in chains. So first is the patriotism that we lack. Is something that we have to imbibe every Nigerian, and like I say, it has to be driven by leadership. I tell you, in my house, I account for what is wrong and what is right. I set the example, and they follow. My little child of 2 years cannot eat food and stand up without thanking me and thanking the mother and thanking God Almighty. that she got food. It's not a mistake. It's by auto. And you cannot wake up in the morning and not greet me. You cannot wake up in the morning and say, I will not pay. Come back to do assignment. You want to go out. What are you going out for? You want to get permission of daddy or mommy. If my wife misbehaves, it is a standard I have set. So as the father, I provide guidance. So our society got to where it is today because we lost all the values. Everybody is in a rush for the money. Money has gone the end point. What will a 17-year-old boy has to do with money that he can go and kill a human being? Because he wants to make money. 17-year-old at the age of 17. I was fighting to be the best in my SSC, GC. What's GC? Money was the dream was how to be the best, how to pass your exam with the highest mark. That's what we fight for. How you should be the one to solve this mass and know what that person, what that you want to bring for you. Please teach me this and that. Food is living at the back row because we have incentivized money, and not that we did it along the line that money should only be earned through hard work. Oh, the only thing I know how to make money is through hard work. Hard work. Dint of hard work. Dint of hard work. See, our forebears, our founding fathers, and other leaders have gone before us. If they had brought Nigeria to where they were, and we took over from there, we cannot improve on what they have done. It means we are not educated. We were only decorated. The school we went to where is just decoration, no education.
Okay, just on the last note, if you can just give us that in 30 seconds or 1 minute. We have a situation whereby we are at this particular point in time, and then you've raised the issue, which is very, very critical, the issue of the home and its roles it plays in the society. When you have a very good home, definitely you see the reflection in the society. What support do you think should be coming from the followers now to the leadership? Because we elect people to lead us, and these people are also part of us. So as followers, how can we manage ourselves to always get the best as a nation? Just in 30 seconds.
Yeah, the problem of leadership is about the action and inaction of the people. It can be the action of the leaders and the inaction of the followers. And like you say, followers provide, it's just like the bottom of the pyramid. Yeah. Provide a base for the leaders. And like you often say, in society gives the leader they deserve. And you know, when something, the rod starts from the top, you can't spare anything on the ground. The status quo flipped over time. Nigerian followers were not like this before. Nigerian followers were not like this before. Are you hearing me? But the dynamics that change was because of what changed on the top. It was because of what changed on the top. I told you what I do in my house. If I go to sleep now, it will become a different ballgame. 2-3 years today, you see my children, it will be a different thing. And then somebody will come and begin to blame them that they were not. But I flipped. In any case, the result to build this nation is ours collectively. And as followers, we are the major stakeholders of the Nigerian state. Because if there is an emergency now, look at the insecurity and the number of people that are dying. Who are the people dying? It's not the followers. Therefore, there's a need for us to sit and recommit ourselves to the value of creating a new Nigeria by dedicating our life to the truth, to community service, to love of our neighbor, to information sharing, to be concerned about our neighbor.
Thank you.
You don't need to lie to yourself alone.
Thank you so much.
You can't be anything without others you can be.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Onoja, for being part of the program. And I can see how you are just giving us the actual vibe of what is currently playing in the country, and we definitely appreciate this, giving us so much information, taking us back. And indeed, we don't hope to see yesterday to be better. We hope to see the future to be better. That's the best way we can move forward as a nation. This is how far we can go today on the afternoon edition program. I'm discussing with Ambassador Onoja, the Next Generation Youth Initiative International President. So it's once more, it's very good having you today.
Thank you very much.
My name is Isa Numu. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.